the beginning, it was really loud. It was like a 10, and I could hear it even coming out of my ears. It was just so loud, and I couldn't sleep. Right now, it's like a 2 or 3.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 26 of the podcast. We focus on hearing and tinnitus. In today's episode, we have Genoveva, who I have worked with personally for tinnitus retraining therapy over the last 6 months. We met in late January, February 2021, and we're making this podcast episode to educate other people on what it's like to be 6 months into tinnitus retraining therapy. Genoveva, how are you doing today? Please tell us your journey over these last 6 months. What's happened?
Thank you, Dr. Ben, for inviting me. I actually got tinnitus after having COVID. I got COVID in early November of 2020, and by November 14th, right after my 2 weeks when it was, I guess I was clear, I woke up with this horrible noise in my ear that I couldn't control. My immediate reaction was to contact my doctor, and my doctor told me that it was going to go away. Not worry about it. 2 weeks later, it didn't go away. It was just getting worse. So I went to see the doctor, and they pretty much told me there was nothing they can do. They didn't give me the pamphlet. They was just like, it's just going to go away. It's going to go away. I was like that for 3 months. I couldn't sleep. I was really frustrated. I actually went into depression, very anxious, that no one was giving me an answer. It was a horrible feeling of tinnitus. It was super loud, and it controlled my mind, and I couldn't concentrate. I actually was watching TV. I could hear the noise. And the worst part for me was not being present. As I told you, I'm a very active member of my community. I'm super involved with my kids' stuff. And like I shared with you, my husband and I, we were struggling to have, my kid is adopted, but we were struggling to have unnatural kids, and we were going through the in vitro process. So having this problem and that no doctor was giving me a solution was really frustrating for me, really, really frustrated. And the fact that I didn't know if I had a bigger neurological problem, and I was just in a hole. I was really frustrated, and no one was giving me a solution. For months, I couldn't even get up. I was just really depressed and couldn't figure it out. And the fact that I couldn't sleep was more frustrated. And at one point, I even questioned if I was going to be a functional citizen, being myself very active, if I was going to be able to go back to work, if I was going to be present.
Okay, Genoveva, so you just told us those first 3 months, sleep trouble, insomnia, stress, anxiety, questioning what was your future. Now, where are you now 6 months after you started getting help, getting the right resources together? Because the reason we're having this podcast is to showcase people what can happen in a 6-month period. So where are you in the last month?
Dr. Ben, I didn't give up. I actually called all the counselors. I through the Tinnitus Association, I was able to contact you. The support that I've been getting through your program monthly. I met other people who were going through the same experience. I think the frustration was that not knowing information. So once I started getting more information, reaching out to all the counselors, to American Association, to you and the support, and then we're going to be fine. I went to see a neurologist. Even though not only was I dealing with tinnitus, but also the long haul effects of COVID, which is fatigue and other stuff, I still made it very powerful. I fought like a lion to make sure that I get up and make sure that even though I couldn't, at the beginning, I couldn't really hear what you were saying on the Zoom because of the tinnitus. But now, thank God, like you mentioned, one of the key things that you mentioned that I have never tried it in my life is meditation. Never tried it in my life. So I actually went to a meditation center to learn and practice how to meditate. And through other counselors, they were telling me the same thing, meditate. And they were giving me those skills of meditation. And at first, I actually thought I was thinking I need a pill or something. I don't need no meditation. But I did it because I have no option. And
did you ever try a pill?
Well, yeah, the neurologist gave me pills for anxiety and for depression. And I was like, I don't need those pills. I need to get better, in terms of the tinnitus. And so meditation helped me a lot. You were kept saying that we have to focus on making tinnitus not important. And so I had to, once I I started seeing the difference. I seriously thought I was not going to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I'm seeing it. This weekend, thank God, I was able to move my kid to San Diego State University. He's actually living over there. I seriously thought I was not going to live that moment, and I was really concentrated. I still have the tinnitus, but it's not that loud. It actually has lowered, and I have function. I work. I thought I was never. I'm actually at work, and I'm very blessed to say that. I'm still working on getting better. I reach out to the to everybody who tinnitus was in their subject, to other counselors. I was seeing, you recommended also cranial massage. I did that. Meditation. I actually was also, a lot of people in the support group also recommended acupuncture. I did that. Everything that you mentioned, everything that you promoted, I actually, and now I'm learning that it's not good to get so much into the subject, but I was really desperate for solutions. And one of the things that I was looking, before going to sleep, before doing my meditation, I will look into your video of like tinnitus, when you first get tinnitus, the basics, and just to remind me and just to like motivate myself that I was going to be well and I was going to be okay. And at first, it was hard for me to believe that because I have never dealt with this in my life, and the fact that there's no cure, I think that scared me the most at the beginning. But it gave me peace just to know that there is a support group, and I wanna thank you. God sent you through my way because I was praying a lot for God to help me, and sent you my way, Dr. Ben, for helping me and answering my call when I most needed it, because I didn't have no answers and no solutions. And I am actually now want to be an advocate that more people should know the answer, because it's really frustrating at the beginning when you experience this and you're like, am I going crazy or is it what's going on, But I'm in a better situation, but I'm still learning how to cope with it. I haven't gotten out of it, but I still have it. And like I told you, I hear it mostly in the morning and at night, but I hasn't been as really bad as before, where it will wake me up every 3 hours. I couldn't concentrate, I couldn't watch TV, I couldn't work, I couldn't even be a good mom to my kid. I mean, we were even questioning if we were going to have more children. Just really upset. It just seems like all my goals were upside down. But now, no, I'm in a better, way better situation now.
Yeah, thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your kind words. And there's a lot that you shared that's very important. It's not a black and white thing. It's not a type of condition where it's either a cure or I have it. Either I have it or I don't have it. It's usually some spectrum of I have some of it, but is it affecting my life? How loud is it? How bothersome is it? In the last 6 months, what has changed for you? Is it the loudness of it when you're in a quiet room and you listen for it? How loud is that on a 1 to 10 scale between now and 6 months ago? Or is it how much it bothers you or annoys you? Tell us more about that.
At the beginning, it was really loud. It was like a 10, and I could hear it even coming out of my ears. It was just so loud, and I couldn't sleep. Right now, it's like a 2 or 3, and the skills that I have learned, like you said, like the skills and the counseling, the support group, several support groups that I have joined, several counselors that I have joined. They have given me the practice, like all the practice that I have mentioned, and they have lowered the volume. I'm still working on it because I'm so new to it. It just happened to me last November. I'm still working on it and learning how to cope with it. But the fact that the volume went down, I never believe you when you say it's gonna go down. It's just gonna. But it went down, thank God, and it's not controlling me. I think that's what was most important. Like I never thought I was gonna control the tinnitus, but it's not controlling me or my life or my plans and that's where I think I was getting really depressed. Now it seems like I'm controlling the tinnitus. And I never thought I was going to be in that situation because at the beginning, I couldn't even figure it out, what triggered it or what, now I know it's just like, okay, I'm learning how to cope with it.
And through that process of learning how to cope with it, you are reducing it. You are reducing the tinnitus itself.
Correct. And I think one of them is just confronting it where I don't fear it, because at the beginning it was just so new, and the fact that we're not giving me a lot of solutions, I don't fear it no more. Through the group and through the support group to American Tinnitus, I have found really doctors that understand, like yourself, what is tinnitus. So I have able to actually feel more confident that I'm getting the right information, I'm going the right path. And that also has helped me not to be so stressed out about the situation. And so I think that's one of the things that I highly recommend, to get the support and all the tools and skills and everything, and fight it. Like when I learned, when people were sending me, because in March about the older man who committed suicide in Texas because of tinnitus, I was like, that's not going to be me. We have to fight it. There have to be a solution, and we have to fight it. And it was hard. It was really hard. But thank you, Dr. Ben, for providing the space, because it has given us hope that there's something that we can be done, and it's not going to control our life. Tinnitus is not going to control our life. like we can continue on with our life and having this problem.
You've been a great example of putting the practice to work. And I remember at the beginning that we were focused on very basic, very fundamental things, but I knew that it was in your long-term interest to focus on the very basic fundamental things first. And earlier, the first 3 months, you were in what we now call the urgent care phase, where you had a serious problem, and it's as if you needed emergency help or urgent care help, and you weren't sure what to do. So in that urgent care phase, it's very confusing and overwhelming. And when you're not sleeping well, when you have high stress, high anxiety, I wouldn't expect you to do much. I mean, just waking up, eating 3 meals, spending some time with family, and going to sleep, that's a full day when you're operating on low energy from the tinnitus, insomnia, and the stress and the anxiety. So I'm so happy you were able to transition out of that phase. And like you said, I told you it was possible. The reason we're making this podcast is to showcase people that, okay, even when the first few months are very tough, there's still hope. You're not finished with this. You're not done with tinnitus retraining. You're not done with keeping to work on the practices that you've learned, but you are definitely at a different spot than when you started. And I wanted to bring you on to showcase that positivity and that hope, because we're not just talking about you coping with it and dealing with it. We're actually talking about your volume went from, what did you say, 8 out of 10 to 2 or 3 out of 10?
When I couldn't remember, Dr. Van, I couldn't even do a sentence without even crying because I couldn't figure it out. The noise was very, very loud in my head. And I almost felt like I had a radio in my head, controlling my head. So I couldn't really concentrate or read or pay attention to even a movie in a TV. I really appreciate your support group, and my story can give hope to anyone out there. Please, reach out for help, and there is hope. And I understand the frustration of when you don't see the solutions. And I think part of it, Dr. Van, honestly, is because of the lack of information that a lot of doctors out there don't know. And it's really frustrating. I actually share with you that I changed insurance to get, more private doctors. I went all over San Diego, all over the nation. And there were other counselors too who helped me a lot in those skills, like a local doctor, Dr. Sarah, and, my counselor, Dr. Sprinkle, and Dr. Hubbard. Also, Dr. Bruce Hubbard was also very key and essential in my therapy and my concentration and getting up, and in your support groups, just like hearing other people who are going through the same experience and has really like validate me to like make myself stronger, that if other people went through it really bad like myself and they got out of it, I can do it too. And so when I shared with the group that I adopted my nephew when my brother got murdered when he was 8, and my nephew is now the first man in our family who goes to college. And I seriously thought I was not going to see that event in our life of moving my kid to college. But this weekend I had the opportunity to, and I was really focused. And tinnitus was not even in my head or my subject or anything. I was concentrating in moving my kid to college. And so I'm very happy that I was able to live that, and really appreciate it. And thank you from the bottom of my heart, Dr. Ben, for helping me in the support, and all the doctors that I have mentioned too for helping me through the process, and my neurologist too, Dr. Berry. And don't discard anything, like do everything possible. Like, like I always say, I fought like a lion to get back, but it was hard. It was really hard. But Dr. Ben, the first call that I remember of finding hope was your call. Thank you, because it was really late when I called you. I remember I didn't even thought you were going to answer your call, but you did.
I remember answering that call very well, because I was driving back from the grocery store. This was early on in my business when I was answering all the phone calls coming in, and it was after driving home from the grocery store, and I answered, and we had a long conversation while I was in the car. And so what did that mean for you?
It meant a lot, Doctor. It was really late, and I was giving up. I hope I was going with this noise in my head, and it meant a lot. And I, like right now, I'm being the biggest support coordinator in my office. I'm in charge of the San Diego office for the members, our janitors. They're fighting for, for health benefits, better raises, better working conditions. And I'm helping in here support 3,000 members in San Diego. And without you knowing, you're also being supported of that by supporting me and my health. Now I'm able to be strong for them and be able to help them and get that support for them to be stronger fighters for them to fight a good contract here in San Diego, especially because they were essential workers. But I also want to let you know that there's more people that know about tinnitus. I have no idea about tinnitus. There's more people, and I know there's more people out there. I was able to also connect with a group in Argentina, and there's, the word in Spanish is acufenos. And now I also got, more friends that I recommended you because they're my friends because we share now this problem, tinnitus. But I mean, I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't have met them if it wasn't for this issue. But they also got tinnitus after COVID.
Yeah, I want to acknowledge that we're so happy that your son was able to move into college.
Yes.
And that's an amazing feeling. So congratulations to you and your family and him.
Thank you,
and
Dr. Ben.
Yes, and how did that go? How did it go to move him into the freshman year of school?
No, it went well. It went smooth. We dropped him off. Good thing is that he stayed in San Diego, so we get to check on him. But he was really happy, and I was very happy too. They're very happy. It was an emotional day. Because, like I mentioned, like I'm not embarrassed to tell my story. Where I was the first generation to go to college, and then my brother got murdered, and Felipe, my son, is actually my nephew. I adopted him when he was 8, and when my brother got murdered, and he's the first man in our family has break tradition that he has gone to college and not to jail or on the street, so using drugs. And I'm very proud of that we are moving on. I'm very proud of that, and I'm also a woman of faith. And at the beginning, Dr. Vena was really fighting with God and letting him know, why me, like what's going on, like you put a lot of obstacles and I have overcome everything and what's going on. And that night is when I reached out for the American Tinnitus Association booklet, and that's when I found your number. And so, I'm thankful to God that there's resources out there, and then you're working really hard to provide those resources, because it seems like it's not a big problem, but it can be a big problem. It can be a big problem. And when we're hearing out there that people are committing suicide for having this problem, it shows that it can be really frustrating to have a problem. And I've been through a lot of challenges, Dr. Ben, in my life, but this has been one of the hardest ones. Not able to be present to my life because of this noise in my head. But now it's just that I overcome, and I go getting all the research to overcome it. But now I can see that I can overcome anything, because if you motivate me to go to this meditation center, which is called Kadampa Meditation Center. It's like, if we can control our mind, we can control anything, And I think that's what I was reading about tinnitus, that a long time ago they thought that that's the way that God speaks to you, through the noise. And I was like, maybe God is speaking to me in a way that maybe the new way, to bring hope to other people. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us more about the work that you do, and how moving past tinnitus and getting out of that fight or flight urgent care phase, how that allows you to serve your community and how it's rippling and affecting so many other people. Tell us about the work that you do and how it is doing that work now when you have to balance your stress and your anxiety and also managing your tinnitus too.
I'm a coordinator for the San Diego office for SEIU USWW. We're known for the Union of the Janitors and Security Officers. Our members are janitors, and they work from 6 to 3 in the morning. So mostly work at night. And having a union, where I'm also one of the vice president of San Diego Labor Council. So, we represent all the teachers have a union, the firefighters have a union, the police officers have a union, and the janitors in San Diego have a union. And right now we're renewing our contract. So every 4 years we renew our contract. So you have benefits in the state of California. So as a worker, you also have benefits, federal benefits, but with a union, you have more benefits. So that's what we renew every 4 years. I'm one of the leaders here in San Diego to help our janitors to get a good contract. But we're negotiating statewide. So there's more than 20,000 members that we have SEIU USWW have statewide. I'm in charge of the chapter here in San Diego. And our members, a lot of them got sick. Many of our members passed away because they were essential workers. They were right in the front. They're the ones who cleaned the airport. They're the ones who cleaned all those buildings. So they were in the front line when this whole pandemic happened. They never stopped working. And so a lot of our members, even lingering effects and side effects after COVID, one of them being tinnitus, myself. And so I basically empower them not to year for them to renew their contract. So if you see us in downtown San Diego or in downtown LA picketing, and it's because we need a better contract. And one of the big things that we fight is for us to have more the health insurance for everybody, because health insurance was very essential right now with this pandemic. So I think that's one of the big things, and better salaries, and also respect and dignity for our workers. Like, that's what I do. That's my job. And I'm very humble and blessed to work with strong women, mostly immigrant women, but they're not afraid. They're not afraid to come out with their broom and their mops and ready to fight because we need benefits. They're fighters like me, and they were my motivation to Dr. Ben, then, because I see them how they work from 6 to 3 in the morning, wake up at 7, give breakfast to their children, and then they're ready to come to a picket or an action or a march at 11. And they're like walking, like if they only have like 2 hours or 3 of sleep. And I was like, here I was like having so much hard time getting up, having this Lord in my head. But I mean, I think, God gave me a little of lift, and I did that, and to make that phone call, to get the resources, to little by little, making baby steps to be where I'm at right now. But I'm in a way better position because I couldn't even speak and assume without having the noise, assume. I couldn't really concentrate. That's how loud it was in my head. That's how loud it was. But now I'm very blessed that I'm able to say that I can speak, and I can speak to you, and I can talk how wonderful of a job I have. I'm very blessed to have this job, because I get really motivated to see all those women out there and fighting, and they're my inspiration of like the work that I do. It's great. And so right now we're in contract negotiations for renewal. Like I said, renew the contract every 4 years. So to empower all those workers to fight for their rights and fight for dignity and respect at work. That's what I do.
I support you 100%. San Diego is lucky to have you, and we're lucky to have essential workers. We're lucky to have everyone in your community who is cleaning, who is working for large institutions that unfortunately most of the time take them for granted. But you're sharing their stories, you're sharing their humanity, and that's really important here. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know that our audience supports you, and I certainly support you. Do you have any final words for the community? And remember, this is us talking 6 months after starting tinnitus retraining, with sound therapy, with professional counseling, with also a focus on mindfulness, meditation, and the holistic path. So this is where you're at now. 6 months ago, you were in a different place. Do you have any final words, Genoveva, for the community here? What you've learned, any lessons, any tips or recommendations for someone else who might be in a similar position?
I think Dr. Ben, I definitely don't give up. Don't give up. Fight like a lion for your life, because so many people depend on you. And don't give up. I think that we're very blessed to have you, Dr. Ben, and other doctors out there who are very knowledgeable about tinnitus and use you as a resource and call you, and just don't give up. Don't give up the fight, and be a fighter. And I think we need more fighters in this fight, so one day we can say we left the next generation the cure. Because that's the thing. There's no cure. Like we have to figure it out, and we left I think that's our responsibility. That we need to figure out what happened so our kids don't go through what we went through. And I think that there's need to be more research on what happened to us after COVID, and why we were dealing with this. And there needs to be an explanation. And I know it may sound a little funny, but I always will tell everybody in my family, if I die, at least I want to know why I died. I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna come back as a ghost, and I'm gonna find out. But I think that's my message to everybody. Don't give up. Don't give up. We need to have the answer. Don't give up. Don't give up. Fight back until we figure out the solution. And if anything, we can support each other. And there is research out there, and things are gonna get better. I think that's what we have to have faith that things are gonna get better. And that's but
thank you. Thank you
for providing the space, and thank you so much for dedicating, after your medicine school, dedicating to this big problem, because it sounds like a small problem, but it's a big problem. It can be a huge problem if we let it. But I think that's the big message. Don't give up. Don't give up. And call Dr. Ben.
And where you're at right now with your tinnitus, can you live a normal, healthy, happy life at the current sound levels you have? And if yes or no, where do you aspire? Where do you hope to be 12 months or 6 months from now?
Right now, yes, definitely. Like I said, I'm way better than when I was 6 months. My goal is to improve more. I still hear it in the morning, so I have to figure it out where it doesn't let me down. Like I snap out of it. I think a lot of what you have mentioned is like don't consider it important. So I've been practicing my brain to like it's not important. Let's just focus on where I need to focus, and it allows me. I think I'm good. I think I'm working on like where it bother me. I think that's where I want to be, where it doesn't bother. Hopefully in 6 months, I'll be like, it doesn't bother me no more. I can focus on it. I also don't want to but I don't want to give up the fight. I think we definitely, our generation should find out cure. It should be in our time. I still haven't successfully, I still haven't successful of being where I'm not at the stage where I can say it doesn't bother me because in the morning, sometimes it does, but I still hear it. But I'm working on it, doctor. I'm working on it. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm always there. I'm a perfect attendance at your at your support groups. I don't miss any of my appointments. I reach out to everything, and so. But right now, I think that I need to be at the stage where it doesn't bother me. It's like I have it and move on. So yeah,
Yes, everyone, you heard it here first. Don't give up. Be the
don't
lion.
give up.
It's a
Be
balance
that
though.
lion.
It's a balance because we need to fight for our own health. We need to put in work,
Mm-hmm.
but we can't fight tinnitus expecting to punch it out and actually fight it in a negative way, but we need to have the motivation and the energy to keep going, keep pursuing better health. So I'm completely with you. And Genoveva, thank you so much for sharing. I know many people will really appreciate hearing your story and support you as a strong woman, as a strong human, doing great things in the world. Thank you so much for being a guest here.
No, thank you, Dr. Van. And I just want to let everybody know because I didn't let you know, I did continue with the in vitro. So hopefully my husband and I do have a child. So hopefully in 6 months I can share that too. So yes, I didn't give up my dreams and my hopes. And I think it would have never given that tinnitus so much power. And I think the bottom line, don't give him so much power. Continue with your life.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Talk to you soon.